All right, we are back. Where were we? So I got the email verification stuff working. Um, so basically now, just to show it off, let's delete this user. Oh, we gotta also run the stupid app. And there it is. We have an app right above me. There he is. Loading. Oh shit. Oh gosh. So the problem right now is I'm logged in with a. This is probably a good thing to fix actually. I'm logged in with a valid token, but technically, because I deleted that user, that token is no longer valid. Um, so let's actually step through. Let's fix that. Look, we got a new thing. That would be in the session. Session rest session provider probably. So we initialize. We get this. I guess we could set the token. We could do a try of, do I have access to, yes I do, ref.read auth provider dot notifier dot current user. Maybe it's auth provider dot auth provider. Let's see where I can call this easily. This is the auth data source. I don't really want to talk to the data source directly, naturally. Because wait, this is, although this is the rest session provider, I could talk to the data source safely. Um, current user, final user equals this. So we're gonna wait it. This could be null if user equals, or we can say like if user is not equal null, we'll just return. Um, we'll just, you know what? Let's do this differently. I don't think we need to try catch around this. If user equals null, then we're going to set, oh, what the heck? What happened there? If user equals null, we don't want to return. Instead, we are going to set state equals rest session state initial. So basically, if this fails, we just kind of go back to like, oh, I guess their account got deleted, which is exactly what happened in my case. Let's do a green arrow reload. And that also did not seem to work. Okay, is this the... Okay, we got a server site. So, okay, I guess we do need a try around this. So we can kind of like, if the error happens, we will do that. And then actually, we can probably just do that and not actually capture anything. Okay, so now if there is an error, it should set it to initial, and then we're good. Okay, so that solves that lovely problem, which we love. Okay, so let's actually go through how this works. So I register. Boo, we get a verification code. Now, I'm not actually sending emails right now because that's a whole thing to set up. I mean, it's actually done from a coding point of view, but I have to set up like an SMTP server and stuff. And right now, I just don't feel like doing that. So if we go to Docker, I'm actually just printing out the code. You can also look in the admin and see what that user's code is, right? We can verify. And now we're in. So yeah, it was pretty easy to implement. Maybe took a half hour, a couple beers and a half hour of time, and we got it working. So yeah, let's do this interceptor stuff because I just deleted that to-do note. So I think I'm just gonna open up another app that's built in this framework. and see how I do this in here. So let's go to our REST client maybe. Okay, yeah, auth interceptor. So I'm just going to copy this. We might have to change some stuff, but our REST client. So yeah, where did I have this? It was after clean path, but before handle. Cool. So I'm just going to rename some stuff to the way we're doing it. Oh, I see. We're using, okay, this we don't need then. Session dot, oh, okay. So this is where we will need these better helpers. How did I do this here? So we actually had a token, our REST session provider just gives back that. Let's actually grab this session token. What does that model look like? I like, oh yeah, this is nice. Auth domain models session token. So auth domain models session token dot dart. We need to import JWT decoder. I don't know why that. What the heck? What the? Why was this? Why is this importing? Is this like my own version of this? Why? Maybe there's something when I did this that. Let's look at the difference between these. Like it looks like, yeah, it looks like the same thing. I must have had to like make a change or something because something was broken. Let's let's just not worry about it and see if stuff works. Okay, so now we have our session token, which does all this stuff, which is great. Um, then let's actually undo since I pasted. Because now this stuff should mostly work. Okay, cool. Auth interceptor, session token. We need to import session token and session.set token. So our set token, oh, I need to actually import that. Okay, so this is actually a lot different. Um, let's see, my session provider is just this. Okay, so it's something to do with our REST session state. REST session state, session token, token. Okay, so I'm guessing my REST state uses, yeah, okay. So we're gonna refactor this because I actually like this. We'll just call this token. Boom. And then, yes, we need to still have this. So this is a really nice pattern for like state stuff. You basically have one sealed, and the reason you use sealed is that you can't like, it's basically saying, hey, you can't ever extend this in another file, basically. So it keeps like stuff clean because I know just by looking at this that everything that ever extends this is in this file, and there's not going to be like slippery code somewhere else. That's what a sealed class does. This is abstract, or sorry, it's immutable. I guess it technically is abstract. Can I just change to abstract? Sealed, or does a sealed class automatically mean it's abstract? Sure, let's just say that. And then I have my different states in here. So it's like this is like the base state, and all these extend this. So everything, all of these are technically REST session states, but they're kind of like different variants of it. And this variant, for instance, when it's active, we actually have a session token stored in it, which is why we have that there. Okay, this is gonna be a bit of a refactor, but luckily Dart and VS Code makes it relatively easy. Okay, so we're gonna go back to our REST session provider and we'll fix stuff here. So set token now should actually just pass in a session token. We'll just call it token. And then all we do is pass in token, token. So that's fine. When we set token now, we actually need to make an access token. So our session token. And there is a from JSON. That's great. We thought about this. So if these are not, okay, then we can go final token equals session token dot from JSON and just literally pass in our these two things. Oh, I mean, we could do it this way, but there's really no need. We can actually just go access and take our stored access token. I forgot this is from the access, not the, this is from the storage. And then we have our token, and then we basically can actually set token by going like this. And we're going to, maybe we should deal with this now, or at least we won't deal with it right now because we're in the middle of a refactor, but I'm going to put a to do handle expired tokens and such, which we like. Okay, cool. So we set the token. There we go. And then access token. I feel like we don't need this anymore. We can just go token.access. I think that's just cleaner. Okay, so we're gonna have a bunch more errors because a lot of our things use this. Let's look at this one. If session.token equals null, we can just check the token. We're good there. And then where else do we have an error? Set token. So now we have to use. All right, cool. So result. This is all in the try catch, so that will be fine. Basically, we can actually just go. We can actually get rid of all this stuff, I think. Although, yeah, this will be fine. So what we'll do is we'll go final token equals session token dot from JSON and actually pass in the result here, which is going to be formatted the way we want. Let's just make sure from JSON access and refresh. Yep. And then we just set token by going like here. And then we do want to set to our storage this stuff. Now I wonder, this probably actually makes sense in some ways to happen here. Just so that anytime we set the token, it kind of gets stored to storage. I can't think of a reason why we wouldn't want to do that. So let's actually move that to our set token. Yeah, like, I mean, the worst case scenario is like, okay, we got it. I mean, it's kind of, because it's like, yeah, if we get it from storage, then we just set it again, it kind of seems silly. Okay, we'll just keep it here. But we have to now change this to say token.access and token.refresh. We'll think about that. If anyone has any thoughts in the chat of where this should actually happen, that would be cool. Okay, so that solves all that. Now we're gonna have a bunch more errors. So this is our options. So session.token. What? I'm so confused. Let's minimize this. Let's go to my client, REST client, and I'm actually just gonna copy this whole thing. It's very similar, but it's a little bit more fleshed out. And now look, all of our errors are gone. So the way this is working now is, yeah, we no longer put this in here. This I love because I've always found it a huge pain in the ass to deal with like tokens and stuff and being like passing it up, putting in the headers, doing a refresh, all this kind of thing. This interceptor is going to kind of save our ass. Um, Basically, this is something that gets kind of like as a handler in DO every time a request happens. So on a request, we make sure like if with auth is set, because there's some endpoints we want to hit where we don't actually want to pass our auth token up, like things like logging in and stuff. We don't have one yet. Various other things. And this will actually go if the access token is expired. And what's this? This is just a getter on here that uses the JWT is expired. Cool. Then we actually go and intercept it and do a refresh before actually going to do the request we want. And then we actually, pass that, we essentially put this up. Now, the only thing missing here is the fact that we're not storing this back in storage. How did I deal with that here? That makes sense. Okay, so so this makes sense. So let's actually in set token, basically set this stuff. So where were we doing this before? Originally, we were storing it right here. So I'm going to actually set token. Now, I have awaits here. Technically, we do not need to await these. They can kind of just happen. We'll just be like, yeah, okay, everything's good. Here's a token, set, update the state. But like in the background, we can kind of fire these things. And these async tests, I feel like they aren't really async. They are by nature, but they're not going to like take that long. The difference here is we can see ref.read. I think it's storage provider. Storage provider. Yeah. because we're actually accessing it properly. And this feels cleaner too. I didn't really like talking directly to the storage singleton. Now we're talking through the normal riff way. So that means now in the, and let's just actually make sure, I'm just going to search for this. We should only have one place we're doing this in the app. Yeah, we do, which is kind of perfect because it's just anytime we set the token, we're also going to be like, hey, put this in storage. I don't, the new formatter, like I don't love that this is going to 3 lines, but it's manageable. Um, you know what we could do? Um, oh, nah, it's fine. That's overkill. Okay, so I can get rid of that to do now, which is great. In theory, we should be good. So yeah, back to our REST client, which I can't seem to find anymore. So yeah, basically it like checks if the access is expired, and it will go and get a new token by hitting the refresh endpoint, and we get a whole thing back. We set the token. We also update the authorization of our headers to this, and all is well. Let's make sure stuff is still working though, because that was a pretty reasonable change. So I'm gonna log in. Oh, look at that, we got an error. Wonder why. Let's go to our network or sorry, our dev tools. What is it called? Flutter, open dev tools, network page. And let's hit this again. Okay, so what do we get? We're getting a 404 back. What is this? This is, oh, it's because now I have the V1 in here. That's fine. Let's think about this. So these are the kind of decisions that keep me up at night. So I have API base URL being like this, right? Um, and basically what's happening is it's taking this and then appending the V1 in it, which is why I decided in that other project. So either I have to move it here or move it here, naturally. Um, I kind of feel like this is the API base URL, right? Because V1, this is like our base of the API. It's not the base of our server, it's the base of our API. So in that case, we would actually just remove this stuff. And now we'll log in. And in fact, we're already logged in. I was confused about that too. I was like, why did I get logged out? So let's just make sure logging out works. Let's make sure when I refresh the app, simulate like a full restart, we're still good. I can log in. I can refresh while logged in. We are good. Okay, this is awesome. We're going to commit some stuff then. Let's minimize that in case we need it, and we'll open up our other guy. I mentioned before, I kind of like I try, although it doesn't always happen because life gets busy, as in work gets busy. I try and always only have 2 VS Code windows open because it gets really complicated if you have a bunch of your command tilde-ing to other ones and you don't know which one you're in, which is why I have this thing called Peacock that lets you change the color of each window based on the project. So it makes it a little bit easier to know where you are, but still, neither here nor there. Let's see what we did. Okay, so this is, we're just gonna make this like refactor with auth to, or session token, and added the interceptor. Cool. Let's go to our to-do. Do I have anything for the interceptor here? Probably not. Do I have anything for refresh? No. Man, I hate doing tasks that I don't have a to-do for. I don't get to even check it off. So lame. Yeah, those are things to check. Additional auth password reset. Um, yeah, we could, I guess it makes sense to wrap up auth, and I think the only thing really missing is password reset. Let's double check that. Maybe secretly I did it in my sleep. So let's go to our, I think it's in the auth provider. Maybe not the auth provider, the auth data source provider, specifically the Django one. Let's just look through here. Data sources, sorry. I want to go into data sources, this one. Okay, so let's look at what is unimplemented. Oh, everything's implemented here, I think. We do have an unimplemented error. Oh, that makes sense. Um, how does we not have forgot password stub? Those are at dinosaurs. Confirm registration, login, logout. I guess we just haven't done it with any of our things. Okay, that's interesting. I'm gonna give that a moment of thought. What should we do here? Yeah, like I feel like we should handle this. So our auth data source. This is our abstract interface. Yep. Okay, log in, log out. So we'd have a future void. I'm just gonna like search for a sec. Forgot. I only have a. Okay. I guess we'll just build this out. It's an important thing. Um, so we're gonna have a request password reset, I think is what we would call it, which will take a required, oh my God, string of the email address associated with it. It is we're not actually doing the implementation right now. We're just building out the stub. So this is like a nice pattern because we have an abstract class. This is basically just explaining to the rest of our code base and to other developers like what our API is. So we're gonna have request password reset. Then we're going to have complete password complete password reset request and complete. That seems good to me. So for completing, we'll have the email. We'll need to have a string of the token that the other thing sent and a required string of the new password, we'll call it. Those are our two new things we're going to be adding in this session, in this stream. And what I'm going to do is for Serverpod, I'm going to make sure there's nothing in here for it. So we can kind of just go over this and go command dot, and we can add the two missing overrides and just keep the unimplemented. Cool. For Django, we'll do the same thing, but that's actually where we're going to do the work because I only care about Django right now. All right, so we're going to close all this stuff and we have our auth data source Django. Now, this is just our data source. We also need to do this in our domain layer, which let me just see. Sorry, not the domain layer necessarily, but the repository. Yeah, we need to basically do it here too. So this is a little bit different. You're going to have future either a failure or I'm just going to put dynamic for now because I need to think about what these are. And this is going to follow the same thing. I'm also just gonna order these. I don't like how they come in a random order. Maybe I guess it's alphabetical, but alphabetical is very rarely a thing that we care about. So for this, all we care about is a string of an email. Cool. And then I'm just gonna copy and paste this and do the complete password reset, which is basically gonna take the same thing here. Clean architecture. Clean architecture, everyone. Love it. It is definitely overkill a lot of the time. But for something like this that I'm building, it literally kind of like when I started learning about it, I realized like I need to rebuild my framework to use this because it solves all my problems. Mainly my problem is like I've been building this thing for myself, but like also hoping to, properly open source it and stuff. But but my biggest problem is like, oh, it was like specifically for like Django and Flutter, which, it's like that's a small Venn diagram. It's not really a small, but it's smaller than it could be. And with using clean architecture, I figured out I can do this in a really nice way, right? I can have multiple backend options and make it not a really messy code because we literally just have for every data source a different option, right? So the auth data source Django is how would this work with Django or really like any REST framework. But for Houston, which is what this is called, it's specifically Django. And then we just have a different data source for Serverpod and different one for Supabase. So it's like it makes your project really portable, right? And you can, choose whatever you want and you could migrate it pretty reasonably easily to a different backend in the future with only changing these particular files. And that's kind of like why this is great. Okay, cool. So let's think about this. Request password reset is going to send back basically a. I'm trying to think how I want to do this. I want to keep it pretty simple. Um, when I do a request password reset, I'm going to be setting my email up. Actually, it's not going to send anything back. This is just going to send void back. Because you're going to get the thing in the email, right? Like the whole point is like, we're going to send you an email with a code, and that's going to be the thing that you use. Um, and then when we do complete password reset, I guess void. Yeah, I guess also void. We're not going to really return anything. It's just going to be like, hey, you're good to go. We reset your password. So I think that will be fine. Now our implementation of this, we need to add our two missing overrides. Um, and this is good. So with this is really simple. Really all we do, I'm actually just going to, basically copy this. It's going to kind of be the same. So we're going to do our data source dot complete password reset. And in here we have to pass in these three things, email. So like the repository is like kind of just like the handshake between like our layer of implementation that doesn't change between the backends and the specific backend. Um, token, and new password, new password. Okay, so for write, so this will either data source to complete rest password reset. Wait, how come I'm not awaiting these? I feel like, oh, I guess just log out. Oh, log out makes sense not to await. I probably copied a really bad one. Um, this I should definitely be awaiting. Await this, and I want to return write as return to. Oh, it's because it doesn't freaking pull the async over. So yeah, we can just do that. Same with this. So this will kind of be the same. We want to await this. What do I want? I want our try thing here, but instead we're gonna do this. I'm also gonna move the order of this because it makes sense for request to be first. And then for this, it's just passing an email. Okay, cool. All right, let's think about the UI for this now. So I'm gonna log out naturally, and login screen. Yeah, it's still working. Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so let's go to our login form, and let's actually add in some UI here. So probably I usually put it just after the password. There's kind of like a let's do it at 20 for now, but let's just have um, a now for this. I'm going to, yeah, let's just use a text button. Or wait, do I have app buttons? I forget. I do. Okay, we're gonna use our own button here. Label will be forgot password, and its type is actually gonna be app button type dot text. And we want to, of course, have an on pressed, which will do something. Let's just see how that looks. So it's kind of going right in the center, which is expected because it's a column. We can fix that in two ways, but the easiest way for our case would be to wrap this in an alignment and do an alignment of align. Why can't I see it? Alignment dot center. I'll just type the things. So yeah, I forgot password. That looks fine to me. And this is going to do something, which we'll need to figure out. Okay, yes, we have a question in the chat. Osama, Usama. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I remember you. I think you were here yesterday. Nice to see you again. So yeah, I decided for this project. I've used this package a few times in the past, and it is my favorite of all the options. So there's obviously things we could just use like you could generally just use like shared preferences for that, right? And it works totally fine because it's really just like a key value store. The only problem with shared preferences is for web because shared preferences uses local storage. And local storage is fine to use for lots of things, but it's not really a good idea to have like something sensitive like an auth token in there. Not because the user can get it, because really like the user is allowed to have the auth token. But there are ways that browsers can do like kind of like cross security weird shit to be like, I'm gonna get that from a totally different app, their access token. So I like to use something that the web implementation of it will actually use like a database because that's a lot more secure for cross origin, security. So I'm using Sembast. And because like things like Hive, well, Hive is like basically like the guy making it kind of like abandoned it more or less. Partly, I think his life got busy, and then he also started focusing on Drift, which is his like other package, which is one of them is more like a NoSQL, one of them is like an SQL, but there is still Hive's still good. I've used Hive, and there's Hive CE Community Edition that's good, but I really like Sembast, and the reason I like it is it just works the same way, other than it's like factory setup. It works the same way on every platform. So I don't have to think about doing things differently in web or Mac. Now, mind that, these other packages that I'm comparing it to perhaps now work better that way. But at the time that I started using Sembast, which is like a long time ago, I just really liked it. And the way I'm using it is so we have a storage provider. This is basically just a singleton. It's actually got a pretty interesting setup. But when we initialize, if K is web, so if it's web, we actually have to use the database factory web, which comes from Sembas Web, a separate package you install. That's just really like an implementation for the web that doesn't ship with the main one. Otherwise, any other package, we just do it the normal way. So in non-web, it's like using the application documents directory. It's creating it's creating it. It's creating this thing. I call it just Houston.db. You call it whatever you want. Then we open the database. So in both cases, like they're kind of the same. This one's just a little more, effort to tell basically Flutter where's the file going to live for the database. And then what I decided to do, and this is the first time I've done it this way, I actually have 4 different stores. And a store you could think of as like, I don't know, an Excel spreadsheet tab. So if like the database is the entire Excel spreadsheet, this is like one like tab of the spreadsheet. And they're specific for storing different kinds of things. So I can be a little more type safe. So for instance, I have a string store, an int store, a map store, a list store. I could, have other kinds of stores like a Boolean store if I wanted, be easy to add. The pattern's here now. And with this, it just allows me to be more type safe instead of having like a one store where it can be like dynamic inside of it. I know everything stored in here has to be a string because of the the type safety here. I know everything stored in here will be an int, or at least like int with a question mark, right? Nullable. And then I just have, like get string, set string, remove string, right? It's the same pattern for all of these things, just using the different stores. So that it's like kind of repetitive, but that's fine. Because this isn't something, basically now this is done. Like I don't have to touch this anymore unless I want to add like a bool store or something. But yeah, it's just like string store dot record, dot get, whatever. Now I'm using Riverpod. The only downside, not this isn't a downside, but it requires a little bit of an extra thing here to make it work. So this ultimately is a provider. So you have storage provider. However, I throw an unimplemented error here because I don't actually ever want to use this directly. This is just stubbed here because what we actually do, and this is like genius, because the problem is you have to initialize this, right? It's actually asynchronous. And if this was like a normal river provider and in the build method we had async, every time we wanted to access it, we'd have to access it asynchronously in our code, which would be such a pain in the ass, right? We'd have to be like, is it ready? Like wait for the future. And sometimes like we can't do that. So this gets initialized right off the bat, like in the main.dart. We actually go and get the storage service, which is this class right here. And we initialize it right here. And then we actually create a container, this is like a kind of advanced Riverpod feature you can do where you have the provider container and you actually override something. So you say the storage provider is actually going to be overridden with storage service that I know is already initialized and good to go. And then what we have to do is instead of using provider scope, we have to use uncontrolled provider scope and actually pass in that container object here, and then everything else is normal. So now I can actually just call the store ref.read, ref.whatever storage provider, dot set string, get string. Those functions might be synchronous or asynchronous. However, I don't have to wait for it to, has it been booted up yet? Like it's like I know it did. I'm doing it in the main.dart. That is my long story short about storing stuff. I highly recommend it. I'm using it I made a game a little while ago, and I'm using Sembast in that. It's a Flutter game, like a Flame Flutter game. And I'm storing a massive amount of like, everything about the game state in there as just a JSON or like a map basically. And it's like, it works super well. It's really clean. It's type safe. It's nice. Um, Yeah. Don't use local storage. Oh, local storage is fine for a lot of things. I don't want it. Like share preferences is like a totally fine library to use. Like if it's like, does this user like dark mode? Here's their language that they prefer. Have they accepted that? Like, you can totally use it for that kind of stuff. But like, don't use it to store your access tokens or refresh tokens because they, from what I've heard, can be taken away. So that's why I chose Sembast. Cool. And then, yeah, never heard of it. Now you have, check it out. And then, yeah, if you check out, if you want to see, if you want my implementation of it, I'm totally cool to give it to you. The thing I just walked you through. I don't know if you're using Riverpod, but even if you're not, everything here isn't actually Riverpod specific. It's just the way that this stuff's like Riverpod specific, basically. So you can grab it from my repo. It is github.com/Tyler Savory/Houston. And if you find it, you'll have to go into Houston Flutter because Houston's a big project. It'll be in, I think, lib. Let's find out. I think I got rid of storage provider. Lib core providers. So core providers. You should see storage in here. And you can just take this. This is yours now. I'm not going to put this in the chat. It's easy to get to. Just GitHub, Tyler Savory, Houston, like the city, but it's really named after. Well, it is still named after the city, I guess, but it's kind of like after the whole like Houston is like a headquarters for space stuff because I'm a big space geek. I actually bought this domain today, which is just pretty cool. I got HoustonCommand.com, which you're just going to see is going to go to nothing because just I haven't actually set anything up on it yet, but I'm using it for uploading for my CDN basically for this. Um, HoustonCommand.com. It will eventually be the landing site for this project when it comes together. Okay, so back to where we were. We have a login form. We have this on press that does a forgot password, but we should probably let people actually forget their password or recover their password. So for this, we will need to go to our presentation layer of auth. Let's just see what screens we have. Login, verification. I feel like verification screen. This is going to be pretty similar, so we're going to copy this and we're going to have forgot password screen or really it's a reset password screen. It's not. That's kind of the action you're doing. Reset password screen dot dart. Even though for for the user presentation, it's cool to say forgot password because that's like what their problem is. Anyways, this is called reset password screen. Now, instead of the verification form here, I'm actually going to copy this because it will be pretty similar to this too. We're going to make a new form widget called um, reset password form dot dart. And we're just going to paste that in there and we'll come back to that. But let's change some stuff here. So this should be, let's just do reset password as the route name. And this we need to use our reset password, which actually reset, I don't think we actually renamed this. Yeah. Reset password form. I've noticed this is kind of cool. Like you start to not actually that one's probably just because that already exists there. But you'll see I actually am getting like an autocomplete here, and I think it's just because it knows the file name. VS Code does / the Flutter plugin does. I've found that pretty helpful recently. It's like saving me a little bit of time. So we want to use a reset password form and import it. Okay, cool. Now reset password form. A lot of this is the same because uh, except the only difference is this should only show up if we are auth initial. I mean, technically, I guess like in this case, for this case, we probably can um, literally just get rid of this switch and return this form. So I'm going to grab this form because I don't really care. Like if someone wants to like reset their password while they technically are logged in and we provide the UI for them to do that, sure, go for it. Okay, so we're going to return this form instead. We're going to get rid of all this stuff. Okay, cool. I'm going to save this. And then our reset password form, we're going to have some errors here because this obviously doesn't exist. So the text form field, yeah, we're gonna have to fix that. But this will be actually like your email address. Elevated button submit. I'm just gonna comment that out for now. It's not gonna do anything. And then this gesture detector Warning, resetting verification code not implemented. That's a good point. We'll have to do that at some point, I guess. I should probably put that in our to-do. I'll actually do that maybe we'll do that tonight. I'm just put it here. Resend verification code. Okay, okay, we don't have any errors now, which is nice. Let's go to our auth routes router. Where are our routes? Where's our, or I think that's just our main router because it's like auth stuff isn't really in its own thing. Okay, where's our, so that's the verification screen. Basically, we're just gonna copy this and use reset password screen dot route. And here we want to actually send to the reset password screen. Okay, closing everything, as I tend to do very often if you haven't noticed. So here we would do context.push, and we want to use the reset password screen dot route. And that should just get us, to go there. Oh man. Did I screw something up? This should be reset password. Okay. Did I miss something? What? Why is it going to the login screen? Oh, I know why. I know why. Because we actually have, these are public routes. So we have to say that this is technically a public route. It's a route you can go to, or a route, depending on if you're American or semi-British like me, because I'm Canadian. And what we want to actually allow is the reset password screen route to be allowed. Because this basically says, hey, if you're not logged in, we're going to redirect you back to the login. I'm pretty sure that's what's happening right now. Okay, forgot password. Yay. Okay, so a couple issues here. We need the reset password form to actually say stuff. We'll just say like reset password. And we'll say we'll, I'm just gonna be like, we'll send you an email with a recovery code email address. And I'm gonna just make this say submit. Okay, cool. Make this autofocus as well, because like when you come on the screen, we kind of want it to, we want your, so if I click this, I'm like, I can already start typing, right? My keyboard would already be popped up, that kind of stuff. I think that's a nice user experience. Okay, now we actually have to make this work. So let's go to our verification form provider, because we're going to copy this whole thing. Oh, this isn't even using the generator. That's fine. One sec. Okay. Providers. So we're going to have a password or reset password. We got to keep the names all the same. Form provider dot dart. Grab this, and we'll just change this to reset password form provider. And this will be the email controller. That's all we're capturing here. And we can have email validator. And I'm sure we already have an email validator in our probably our login form provider. So, oh, that's annoying. We're gonna go on a bit of a thing here. So let's just, for instance, copy this temporarily. Don't I have like a validation? Yeah, validation details is valid email. Yeah, I already have this. Okay, so on our login form, really, what we can do here. Oh no. Oh right, this is inside a, yeah, validation details. So let's import validation details. Dot form validator email. I think I just do this. No. Wait, I thought I could do it that way. I guess I do that and then pass in value. There we go. That's what I want. So this just pass off that function to our form validator email, which does email required, cool, and then also checks if it's a valid email. That's what we really want there. And we want that same code actually here too. We probably also want this in the registration form, which register form provider. Yeah, let's just grab that same thing. Oh man, we're killing it. We're making this so much better. Thanks for being here. Okay, so for our reset password form provider now, we have our email validator. Here we actually want to use this, and our auth provider now, here we have to do our password. We're kind of connecting the dots now. Wait, auth provider. I might have not actually set this. Yeah, right. Login, register. There's one more layer of this. So we're gonna have a future, I think a future void of let's just open up our auth data source or our auth repository. So yeah, the difference is here. It's like our auth provider is like the thing that's managing like the actual state of authentication in our app, meaning like the things that our UI will listen to know what screen to redirect to or like who the user is or whatever. It's actually like the thing in memory. The repository is kind of like the bridge between that and our data source because we have multiple data sources, right? Data source is the layer closest um, to like the database and like the API and stuff. And is like specific. There's three of them, right? Specific for each backend we're supporting. So that's kind of why there's three. And the reason I want that is my auth provider needs to actually like when you log in, I want to actually like set things with the state and have the UI react to it. So we're gonna have request password reset. So there's a lot of like in some ways it feels like you're like repeating yourself a lot, but we're really not. We're actually like following I think a pretty good pattern here because they all have their own responsibilities. And it's okay, although like do not repeat yourself is a rule in programming. That's kind of different than what we're doing here. And if anyone's confused, I will try and explain it more. Just let me know in the chat. Okay, so with this, we would basically just go results. We have to make this asynchronous. And here we would do request password reset and pass through that email. Or sorry, email. What am I doing? What am I doing? Email, email. And yeah. Oh, but this, wait, I feel like, what is result? Oh, yeah, right. So, and then, yeah, this is where we actually fold it. So we're using fpdar here, which allows, returns of two different types. So this can either return a failure or essentially in this case void, but it's successful void. And allows us to sort of, do things as we want. For requesting a password reset, I kind of want to just, because yeah, we're gonna have the form provider. Just wondering if we want to have a whole other state. I don't think so. Oh, I guess we do actually. Yeah, we kind of do. Yeah, so we're gonna have, I'm gonna have a new state here that's similar to a verification state, but this is like because I want to do the password resets a little bit differently than done in the past, especially for an app. I find this works better. We're not actually going to like send a link in an email. We're just going to send a code that you type in. So it's going to be very similar to the verification required thing. Um, so auth state password request, password reset requested is what we'll call this. This might seem confusing, and then, but it will all make sense when it comes together. So in that case, we kind of want to do the same thing as the, I guess that's overkill. But yeah, we're going to do a result.fold. And the fold allows us to handle like what happens if it's a write. And in that case, we know it's a failure. And we'll just set it to auth state failure with the message this. However, we also sometimes have, in this case, not really like any data to work with, but we know it's a success. And when we do this, we're going to make state equal to auth state password request auth state password reset requested. Now I realize this shouldn't actually have a password in it. It's just going to be the email address because we don't know their password. That's the whole friggin' point here. Come on. So yeah, we set that. Awesome. Okay, so then basically over here now, we go and do this. When I get this working, when this is all done, I'll if anyone's interested, I'll walk through the whole, the whole step here. Okay, cool. So then we actually are going to call this something different, but we'll just put this here. This will be reset password form provider equals that. So now back in our UI, I realize we will need, oops, that's not it, reset password form. We are actually going to have to put that switch case back in now that I've thought about this a bit more. But let's just update this. We want to use the reset password form provider. And here we would actually use the email controller and the email validator. So all this should work. And then, oh, here we need to have state verification required. I'm just going to put this here too. Also, state loading. You know what? Let's get rid of all these and get rid of this. And we're going to actually, at the very end of all this stuff, wait, where do I? We're just going to put a default and return that. That's just a little bit. You know what? Actually, I don't like that. This is actually, as much as it's annoying, this is actually a good pattern because when we add a new type, it's telling us like, hey, you haven't handled this here, and it lets us give it that thought, right? So now I can also be like, okay, if you're here and you get the auths, if for some reason the password reset required and you're on this page, like we're just gonna return nothing because like you shouldn't really be on this page if that's happening. Something else is critically wrong, but we don't want the app to crash. We'd rather it just be like a blank screen, something like that. We could of course put something like something went wrong, but whatever. You or like a you shouldn't be here would be maybe a good message. Um, but I'm not going to worry about that. Okay, so in that case, that's our verification form. We're just fixing that. We also need to handle it in our other form, the real one that we're working on. So similarly, I'm actually going to move this here because I said I'm going to move this here. This is going to be pretty similar. We're going to do a switch on the state. And basically, if case is auth state login, auth state initial, because they don't actually have an account, that's when we're going to basically show all this stuff, right? However, and we can, yeah, that's actually fine. Then when we return the form, we're going to have another case for auth state password reset requested. And this is where we're actually going to have something else. Now, this is the form. Yeah, this is cool. We can make this part of the same thing. And let's just return like text right now that says to do. Boom, boom. Then, is this just the, hey, oh, expect to find something. What did I, oh yes, we still need the closing of the case, of the switch case. And then here, let's add I can do a command dot on here and we can add the missing switch cases. And I mean, an unimplemented error is also, I guess, a good call. But I'm not going to worry about that. So with switch cases, we can actually group them together. And just on the very last one, kind of be like, return a size box. Because like we know in the application that this is not going to be a place that you get to. It just doesn't make sense. You can't really get to that. And if we can get to it, we will fix it in the future. Actually, I'm going to keep those imported because actually we're going to still need some of those. Because I also want to grab this. Do I? Required. actually, yeah, we do want this here. So we want to, when we're on this page, basically, we want to be listening to the auth provider. And if it ever goes to a failure, we're going to show a toast. That's what this does. If it ever gets to a success, we're going to go to movie list screen, which is like just our base screen, which that's probably something we should make like a constant because now we have it in a few places, but that's all good. Okay, so let's kind of test this out. It's not going to work yet, but forgot password. So if I click submit, yeah, it's like, oh, because I we never actually remember we took that thing out. Let's return things or close things we don't need anymore. Reset password screen. I'm gonna open this up. Close it. Close it. So we need to actually do provider.submit, and what does our provider submit to again? Email. Email. Oh, this is the reset. This should just be using email controller dot text dot trim. We can trim it. Whatever. We'll just send it up as is. Our server can decide to trim it if it wants. Okay, so if I click submit now, email required. So now let's do and this should throw an error. It didn't throw an error. Okay, let's step through. That's good. It didn't throw an error. Maybe it just worked. Okay. So it passes the email through. Let me see. Did we actually make a network request? I feel like we're like I don't recall setting up this fully yet. So let's actually just look. So in auth data sources Django is where we want to go. Yeah, we just apparently throw an unimplemented error. So this is actually where we need to call our server, right? Yep, that makes sense. Okay, so for this, we're gonna do final result equals await, and we have to make this async. Um, and actually, before I even do this, I just want to see if we return true from this. Oh, or if we just return from it. I want to see if this actually, yeah, there we go. It brings us to do. So that part's working because we returned from this, successfully. We didn't throw an error. So let's figure this out. Let's put this in a try catch. Otherwise, we'll never get the error problem. And in this case, we'd want to throw a server exception of the error to string if something goes wrong. Otherwise, we want to essentially hit our, I'm just going to grab this one. It's kind of similar to this. And in fact, we're not even need to worry about the result here. We're just going to do something, and we really just need to pass up the email. Okay. This will be email slash, or this will be some like password slash reset or something. So let's figure out how we're gonna do this. This might already be done. Email. Let's see URLs. OTPU. Maybe it's not. Let's go email. Yeah, it's not done yet. So we have to create it, which excites me a little bit. Okay, password reset time. I feel like I've built so many password resets in my life. I'm over it. Why can't we all just log in with passcodes? Um, phone token. Yeah, I guess we're gonna make a new folder. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. We're gonna make a new folder. A new folder called password. It's the worst bug that's never been fixed. So yeah, this is a funny bug that literally has existed forever in Mac OS that like annoys me all the time. So say I'm focused on some other window that I can kind of like see at the same time. Let's go to the Flutter app, or let's go to Firefox. Check out this bug. Ah, freaking heck. Okay, so say I'm like, my focus is here, and I go here without clicking with a left mouse button and just go like, hey, I'm gonna make a new file, and then I start typing. It's like my focus is still here, right? So I just get this like empty thing here, and it's so annoying. It doesn't actually put focus over there. I don't know why, but it bothers me. Okay, so now we need to make an init.py underscore underscore init.py. And we're going to make urls.py, which I totally just fucked up. urls.py, time is it? 10:20. Okay, we're going to make a new file called views.py and a new file called serializers.py. Let's grab our URLs from here, just kind of like this. And we want to do from django.auth.password.views. We're going to say reset password view or request. This is like request reset password view. Let's see if that aligns. Yeah, request password reset. Awesome. And we're also going to have a complete password reset at some point. And we're just going to make this a request. Or this is going to be, we're actually going to do reset/request because the URL here is actually going to be, if we go to our URLs for here, we're going to have another one. I'll put it here. Actually, yeah, that's a fine spot. So basically the URL will be auth/password/ and if we click through to this, oh, auth/password. What? Did I put this in the wrong file? Where did I do this? What? I put in the serializers. There we go. So it's going to be auth, because that's what the namespace this is, auth.password.reset/request. And then we're going to have one for complete as well. Complete password reset view. Complete reset password. Oh, should be password reset. Uh, uh, uh. Okay, then we need to actually make these views. So let's grab our views from email. I'm just gonna literally grab this whole thing and we'll remove the things we don't need. So let's make sure we have the right name here. This will allow any, and we're gonna need a special serializer for this and blah, 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 but let's just put this in. It's kind of want to get the stuff stubbed in. And then complete password reset view we'll call here, which will essentially do kind of the same thing. And then if we actually close this file and reopen it, you can see it's green, everything's good. Okay, serializers. So our serializers, I'm also going to grab from email, just the first one, be enough. Do a lot of copy and pasting. So this will be request password reset serializer, which all we're asking for is an email. And then we're also just going to get a head start here and do our complete password reset serializer, which is going to have an email and also a, you can just do code or something. Should be a chart field. Okay, so now back in our views, this is actually going to use this one, which we'll import, and this will use almost that one, but request. Wow. Okay, great. So we can probably get rid of all of this stuff. We will need the response stuff, so we'll keep that email available. We're not going to need for this. Okay, URLs are hooked up, views are hooked up, and we actually just have to now do the implementation of the views. So request password reset. We're going to go user equals user.objects.get. And we want to say we want to get an email of that email. Now, to get that email, we actually have to go and actually, I know how to type it out, but honestly, why? If you can just grab this. So we're gonna grab this serializer. So we get our serializer and we pass in the request.data. We do, we make sure it's valid, and basically it'll raise an exception if it's not valid, and then we know it's good. Then we can do email equals serializer dot validated data valid. Is that what it is? yeah, validated data dot get, and we know this is here and we know it's valid because otherwise we'd already have that issue. Um, so now we have the email. Yay! Now this might not exist, right? So now here's a fun lesson for you all on security and just like proper netiquette. Um, in the case that the user dot does not exist, what should we do? Should we tell the API and the client like, hey, we couldn't find that email in your system? No, we shouldn't. We should return a response of just empty whatever and do a status dot http to http 204 no content. We're gonna return this no matter what. Anytime this endpoint gets hit, unless the email is like invalid or whatever, which we don't care, we'll give them an error for that. But like we don't want to actually tell, the API, like people using our API that like whether this email exists. And the reason for it is it's just an easy way to kind of like tell people about your system of who's using it. Like think about it, I could go to a password reset of a site, and people do that. Like there's lots of sites that do this. You can find out. I can type in like a friend's email to a password reset. Like it doesn't mean I can hack them, but I can be like I might get a response being like that email doesn't exist in our system. Sorry. Or I might get one saying that email does exist in our system. Check your email. Just by knowing that, it's like I know this person. I know this person is using this service, which might be information that isn't useful at all, but it could be, right? Like if it's like a competitor or something and you're checking if they're using a product of yours or sorry, another one's product or whatever. Like there's tons of reasons you could, sort of exploit that just and if you know someone has it, then it's like cool, and I'm going to email this guy and say I'm, support person from this, and I can, already it's just like it's just not a good thing to do. So basically, no matter what, even if this doesn't exist, we're going to be like, here you go. Okay, so now, how do we want to do this? I guess we could rotate. We could use the verification code. Yeah, I feel like we could probably just use the same verification code field that we had before. Wait, access models. Access, what the hell? Models. I should just open up. Oh, it is the user model. Let's get user ID. What the hell is that? So we already have a field. We have the email confirmation code. We can just really kind of just go, user.email confirmation code equals, and then we'll basically use the same sort of thing here, which, damn, I can't import easily. Let's just copy and paste. My imports have been working pretty well the last few days, and I've been super happy. We'll still use the default of, you'll see this actually you're supposed to use 6. We'll just use the default, so we won't actually pass it in. And then we're going to user.save. So now we've kind of updated that. And then I'm going to put a to-do here because, again, I don't really want to deal with sending emails right now. Send this in an email. And I should probably also have that in the register serializer as well. Where the hell is that? API serializers right here. Let's do that. To do send this code in an email, send this code in an email. But for now, we're just gonna print it out. Cool. And then we save the user. We're not gonna do anything here. Like we're gonna send the email, and they're gonna get an email, and then they're gonna have to do something with that code. Is the idea? We're just gonna print it to the console for now, because that's just like easier. All right. So that should handle that. And then for this one, why don't we finish up the backend stuff? So this one is going to get 2 things, right? So let's actually copy and paste this stuff. We're going to have the email, but we're also going to have I think it was the code. Let's actually call this the same thing. It's called like verification code or something. Yeah, let's just call it verification code. Verification code. Verification code looks good to me. Verification code. Cool. So that's cool. We'll get all that stuff. And then we basically Oh wait, sorry, it's a, what are we sending up? It's an email. We need to know their email address. We need to know, yeah, their verification code, and we need to know the new password. Like this is a password reset. And yeah, char field, that's fine. New password. Great. Um, so first of all, we need to check if, well, we need to get the user again. So let's do this. Now in this case, um, user equals email. We're going to kind of also check that their verification code, which is called confirmation email something something. Let's see what that's called again. Email confirmation code. Email confirmation code equals verification code. So we're going to look for a user. And in this case, we can actually return something similar that we do in our confirmation, which is done email views. Basically this same thing here. So we're looking, this one's safer because like we're basically saying, hey, no one in our system exists with that email and that verification code specifically. Like, you know, that's okay to tell the system, to tell other people. Okay, so if all that is good though, we can just go user dot, I think it's set password, and then we pass in the password. And the reason we have to do set password, not just set it, is the set password function in Django actually runs it through the hash function and all that stuff to actually securely store it as a hash instead of the plain text. And then we still have to save. Just setting set password doesn't actually save the user, it just sets it, it runs it. You'll see it does this like make password with the raw password, which does all this fun sort of stuff, whatever. It's super good. And then yeah, we can return basically, you know, um, now, ooh, it would be sweet. It would be sweet if we could just return an access token here, which we could do. Um, because like at this point it's like we've proven that this person is a valid thing. I'm gonna do that. I think. I think I'm gonna do that. It might I'm gonna at least stub that in and we can remove it if it creates any problems for us. So this would be in the token view. So basically, we know that they're kind of authenticated and stuff because we just set their password and they've proven they own that email address, which is all we can really do. So what we actually want to do is create a token. So I'm just going to basically take the same code here. Try refresh token. Can I import that? Nope. Okay, refresh token and token error we need to get from this. Because this is gonna be a way better user experience and even a better developer experience because it's like we're just gonna like already have them basically logged into our system. So we'll do that and we'll just say invalid token. I don't know why that would happen. Um, I don't care about the refresh view. And then, yeah, we just want to basically return the same thing we returned from the create token, which is just the access token, which is us stringing the refresh dot access token and the refresh doing a string on the refresh, which is kind of confusing, but it's just because the two string methods on these things are kind of interesting. Okay, save everything, except this doesn't seem like it's imported. Where should that come from? Exceptions. Sure. And I think that's the backend work here, other than obviously sending the email. That'll come in another day. Let's actually put that in the to-do, just like in general. Sending emails. That's for like the email confirmation / password reset. You know it. So we're gonna have to do all that stuff. Okay, let's see if we create any errors here. We can go into Docker. We are no module named Houston Django. What the heck is that? Oh, what? This is where? What the heck's that? Um, from Houston Django. Oh, I think it's the way the import happened was weird. Okay, okay, we're running again. Stuff is good. If we go to our admin somewhere, we should still be good. Okay, so It's fine. I mean, one, love it or hate it. Python, you can get your app might be running totally fine, but then when an execution path hits something where there's an error, um, it just is you're going to runtime error. You get a lot of runtime errors in interpreted languages, right? Whereas like Dart, something I love about it, it's a compiled language, so like you can still get runtime errors, but a lot of the errors that you get, your app won't even build, right? You'll even like see it before when you hit run. I'll be like, there's an error because it's just like something's wrong. Python's not type safe or anything, but it has its place and it's great. And really like the type safety in Python is actually getting better from it really comes down to like using your types properly, which I'm not doing a ton here, and that's fine. But it really comes down to the IDE, right? That's really like how an interpreted language should be controlled. It's like the way your editor is gonna like show you errors and warn stuff, and then things like your CI/CD and unit testing and all that kind of stuff. Just a side rant. Okay, so here we have request password reset, which is gonna be auth password reset request. I think is what we did, right? I know we talked about it a million times. So auth/password /reset/request. Yay. And we'll be passing the email up there. Great. Then basically it's going to be kind of the same thing as here, where we do this, except async. Now this one I actually care about the result because we're going to do something really fun here. This is complete. Is that what we called it? Yeah, complete. And we need to pass our email. We need to pass this shouldn't actually be called token. Let's, how do we get to I want to go to this actually, auth data source. Instead of calling it token, we are going to call it, we're just going to call it verification code. It's like the same thing we're using there. That just kind of makes sense. And look at this. See, compiled languages and great tools. We just have to actually go through all these and change all this. And then this one also, the repository one, always also make sure token is called verification code. Hey, okay, auth data source, Django, back here. We're back. Wicked sick. It's coming along. So actually with this now, I kind of want this to return what what our login returns, what a successful login returns, which is going to be a user. Yeah, so we kind of want, do we want to return the whole user or just the token? I guess the whole user. So I'm literally just going, actually I could just call login. No, I can't. We just kind of need the same code here. So we'd have this. Token is going to be getting that from the result, if everything went well. And then, yeah, we have this issue because we don't actually want to set that up that way. So this should now return a user when everything completes correctly. Then we have to go to all these and, change this to say user, which now we don't have that error there. And these one, oops. I'm also going to reorder these while I'm here. And user this as well. Wicked. Okay, so that should work because basically it's going to try and do this by passing, oh, we missed one thing, or two things really. We need to send up verification code as the verification code and new password as new password. Is that what we called everything in our serializer? Let's just, again, close everything and go to password, serializers. It's email, verification code, new password, verification code, new password. Beautiful. As long as they'll line up, we're good. All right. Show me what you got. Okay, back to our UI now. We have our reset password screen, which has our form. And we basically show a form like this if it's auth state initial, but we also need to handle where that to do is. So I'm actually going to copy this form. And what I'm going to do, because I'm kind of thinking ahead, is like we're going to say submit. Actually, how did I do this? I do this somewhere else. It's in the register form. Do we use? Oh, I'm going to a different screen in that case. Interesting. Hmm. Okay. I am rethinking how I want to do this. Either we have to go to a whole new screen. Yeah, I think that's fine. Let's just follow the same pattern we've already set up. So, in which case, instead of having a to do here, we are, where do we have the to do? To do. Oh, what? Auth state password requests. Oh, did I reset password? Oh, I guess I already did copy this. Oh, did I just do that now? I just did that now. I'm like, so silly. So actually in this, we don't want to do anything. But what we want to do is when you're on this screen, if this shows up, if the next state is this, we're actually going to push to this new screen that doesn't exist yet. So let's actually make that screen. And that screen will be actually very similar to this one. Reset password screen. Let's just call it complete reset password screen dot dart. Request password reset. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's rename these things for a minute. This should just be this should be complete password reset screen. And we can do reset password slash complete as really doesn't matter what this is. Just for web, it looks nice to have nice URLs. So we'll just do that for this one. Now I'm going to rename this file to complete, just to keep all of our names the same, right? It's weird if one of them was like reversed. So we'll have that complete password reset scene. And then actually for this one, we're going to rename this symbol. Renaming symbols is awesome because it will just rename everything in our code base that uses not this name. It's not like a find replace. It actually like is smart enough to know, other things that are referring to this and everything. So in this case, we would call this request password reset screen. And then similarly, we want to rename the file too. Request password reset screen. Cool. And then let's just save everything. Sure, why not? And then let's go to our routes, our app router. So we want to have also this one here. See, it got renamed. So we're going to have one for complete password reset screen. We have to make sure that this one also is named differently. Oh yeah, we could just have reset password, and then the next one will be reset password slash complete. I like that. So for this one, we use complete, and this has to, call that. And then we have to make sure we don't forget that this also is a public route, meaning we're not going to be like, get out of here. You need an account. Get the heck out. If that makes sense. Okay, so now we just need a new form. So let's open up this. Let's click through here. Actually, let's open up this one. Click through here. And we're going to copy all this, make a new one called, actually, before we do that, let's open up our reset password form, which we have open, and let's rename this too. So I'm just going to do a rename of symbol again. And this should be request password reset form. Yay. And then request password reset form. These things are very important to me, like so important. And it just really is. Okay, so now we have that, and then we're going to make another widget called a complete password reset form dart. And this guy is, we're just going to rename this to say complete password reset form. So this form will be a little bit different. And maybe it says submit verification code. And I feel like for this, we'll need to make the font size smaller, I imagine. Check your email. Maybe we'll say, you know, let's actually keep, I like the big text. It looks nice. Check your email for a verification code. And maybe just say, this is just going to be called verify email. Okay, so in this case, we don't want to use auth state initial here. We want to use auth state password reset requested. And then where we had that, this would be auth state initial. And then in this case, we want to say if it's auth state success, we are then going to launch them to the movie list screen. Complete and reset password screen. And then now we can actually do what I wanted to do before, which was redirect them to the complete password reset screen dot route. Get rid of some unused imports. Boom. Sure. Okay, now we have our reset password form provider. So we're going to rename this, of course, to request password reset form provider. And everything's good, but we want to also rename this. What the heck? That's so weird. So this should be called, or we should do a rename symbol again, so we can get it. Although, actually, it doesn't matter in this case. Nothing calls this. Request. Sorry. Thank you for being here. Okay, so that's what that is. And then I forgot to change this one. Now, where we do want to rename the symbol is this right here. We want this to be, it's even reset password form. I forgot the D. Anyways, great. Request password. It's been a long day. Okay, cool. Now we are going to copy this and we're going to make yet another file. And this will be complete password reset form provider. Yes, there's a lot of files. Nothing wrong with that. In fact, I think that's usually a pro to, break things up as much as you can within reason. So this one we're going to just basically go like this a whole bunch of times and change it to complete. And then we want to make sure that the uppercase C becomes a lowercase c here. Oh, that one too, I guess. And I guess we haven't actually set up the provider for this. Let's go here to here. Do we not? I guess not. Let's put that in. So we also want complete. And for this, it's going to not just see an email, but it's going to need a required string of a code and a required string, or let's call it verification code, and required string of new password. All right, cool. Okay, so this is good. We got our complete password reset. And this should actually call complete password reset. And here we actually just pass forward those other things. Verification code. See, we name things the same and it's super easy. New password, new password. And complete password reset. Either you're going to have a fail or we're going to have an auth state success where we set our state. And here, auth state success is requiring us to pass a user in. Well, where do we get that from? Well, guess what? This right here is the user. No, it's not, because we just need to, I guess we missed one thing. Complete password reset. Yeah, this should be returning a user. We missed that one. And now we're going to have a whole bunch of errors. We need to make sure this returns a user when it's successful. Complete password reset. Final user equals, this should say user if I hover over it. Oh, thank God. So we just missed one layer of this. Okay, that one I don't care about right now. That's what we're working on. User, because this should be a user. Yeah, oh, but we just pass in it like that. All right, wicked. So that's good. Save that. Let's just close all those things. Okay, now now our problem is our form needs, we need two things. We actually don't need an email controller. We need a verification code controller. Let's call it that. And we also need a new password controller. Maybe we'll just call it password controller. And we will do, because someone's resetting their password, it is nice to be like, hey, you want to type that in for us twice? So we'll actually have a confirm password controller. Awesome. And we'll have something called password validator. Actually, you know what? I don't care. I don't want it. I just don't feel like dealing with confirm password. Keep this simpler. Okay, so now our complete password reset needs to get an email, which we're actually going to pass in here, and you'll see why in a minute, because actually the form doesn't necessarily have any context of that, but the UI will, as you'll see. So we're actually just going to pass email. Then we need to pass the verification code, which we're going to use verification code controller dot text. And then what's the other thing we need? We need the new password. And that's going to use password controller dot text. Maybe we will trim this. Screw it. Okay, so now back to our UI. So that will go do all that stuff. And submit. Cool. Now we just need to finish the form. Register form, or sorry, complete password reset form. That's the provider. I think that one's done. We just need to actually do the UI now. So if it is password reset, oh crap, did I? Nope, I did this right. Okay. So yeah, verify email. So we don't care about, oh, let's change this provider. So we actually now want to make sure that we are using our complete provider, which is just called this. So let's go like that. Provider is now an instance of this. So then we get our lovely errors because this form field, we're going to have the verification code controller and verification, validator. We don't have a validator for that. Let's see, password validator. Oh, shit. We also want to make sure we're using, I had a password validator was like basically using email validation. That would have been annoying. It's like that password is invalid because it's not a valid email address. We should also have a string verification code validator. Now for this, we're just going to use a built-in one that I've made, form validator, or validation utils.form. Why am I not getting, yeah, form validator, not empty. That's what I want to use. Oh, what am I doing here? Oh, it's because I should have this with a string of value, nullable string of value. And we want to pass in value here. Okay. Verification code validator. So we want to use that provider.verification code validator. Why is this? Oh yeah, we have to pass in the label of this. Oh my God. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll work through this one by one. Okay, so this should say verification code. Cool. Then we're going to actually just have another one. And of course, this could be better. It could be something where we like, first send the verification code and make sure it's valid and then show this field. But like, this is totally fine. We'll say new password. Oops, that should be password controller. This should be password validator. Should just pass like that. All right, cool. And then submit, we need to pass an email. Where do we get that from? Well, we can get it from the state, right? Because this state here, auth state password request requested, has an email in it. And it was because I was thinking ahead, because I wanted to be able to log them in after, basically. It was a long thought process, but it allows us to have access to that, when we come to this screen. Another option is we could do something where you pass the email in here, but like I don't ever want to pass an email as a data parameter in a screen, because then it has to basically be in the URL for things to like work properly, and I don't want to put an email address in the URL. There's other ways you could do it too, of course, but this just is perfect. Okay, so now we would do this. We would submit, and if there's a success, we should just get logged in. Do we dare to test this? I do. Okay, so let's just do a green arrow refresh. I'm sure we missed something. Like that was a lot. That was a big sprint. That was a big sprint, guys. So let's load our app. Oh, look at that. Go router, path utils failed. No. Oh, so one of our new routes, one of our new screens doesn't end in a slash or does end in a slash. Which one is it supposed to be? Is it supposed to end in a slash? Or is it not supposed to end in a slash? Let's look at another screen. It's not supposed to end in a slash. Okay. Uh, what did it? There we go. Forgot password. .com. Let's just get ahead of ourselves here and open up our network page. That works sometimes, occasionally. Tyler.com. Submit. Instance of server exception. Beautiful. That was the request. The response was nothing, but I got a 204. What happened? Let's go to Docker for a sec. Yeah, 204. I got a code. So an error was triggered for some reason. Let's figure out, that's our bad. Something there. Hey, we got some questions in the chat. Hello, research Damala. So this is a meta framework for Flutter, full stack. It's built on the front end is Flutter, Dart, for all, for iOS, Android, all that kind of stuff. And the back end is actually it's kind of the framework itself. The pattern works with Django on the back end. However, it also supports Supabase, which is kind of like a Firebase. If you're not familiar, it's like a better version of Firebase in my opinion. It's Firebase with like a relational database, and more affordable. Or Serverpod, and so basically, like this is using full clean architecture so that you can build your whole app technically with like Supabase as your backend to prototype the whole thing, and then be like, you know what, I need more control or more customization, and I can, essentially with very little work, switch your backend to use a different backend, to use like Django or something, because the way this is set up, the only files that actually change are the implementation files of your data sources. So you could go, and it's not necessarily just Django, it would work with really any REST framework. And then, yeah, on top of that, it does a lot of like code generation and blah, 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 blah. It's Good. I've been making it. I've been ongoingly making this for a long time because I use it. I'm always redoing it, reworking it for my next project I need to start. So I've used it a whole ton, and there's a ton of production apps using this that I built. But it's not. I'm trying to get it to a place where it's like I can put this out as like an open source thing. It is technically an open source thing, but there's no documentation yet. There's no, nothing like that. But that is to come. And partly why I'm working out now is for getting closer to that. Partly is for I have another project starting soon that I'm using it for. So I'm just trying to like rather than building all that stuff in the new project that's like a client thing, I'm going to build it here and then bring it over to the client project when it's ready. And we're pretty close. We're pretty close to being ready. What else? Hey, Nepal, cool. Never been. Um, did you make Supabase course? No, I've never made a Supabase course. I probably touched on Supabase in some of my tutorials. I've used it a couple times on with Flutter and with SvelteKit, but I haven't done a course or I haven't like taught a course or anything about it. It is something I would probably do at some point because I think it is a really awesome backend as a service. Um, yeah, throw more questions in. I will answer them all. But we're gonna step through this problem here because we got just a instance of server error. So let's see. This was on the so let's see the auth data source. We'll kind of would have been somewhere in here. Auth. So this part worked. Is it because does my auth client or REST client a 204 wouldn't be considered an error? I don't think. Let me just see how my get. Okay, clean path, query, delete, return that. Data, map string dynamic. By default, it'll be that. No, that should work. Did anything show up in my console? Oh, this was probably the problem that threw an error. That's great. We can work with that. So let's do forgot password again. Submit. Instance. Okay, so Flutter null is not a subtype of future or map string dynamic. It'd be nice if it told me where that's happening, but I bet I can figure it out. I bet I can figure it out. So let's go to the, must be happening in my data source. So session.setToken. Oh, set token. Maybe we do need to make this. I bet you, oh, I'm looking at the wrong code anyways, but I realize there's an issue here. If we set the token and then call this, no, this is fine. It doesn't matter. Staving to local storage can happen asynchronously behind the scenes. This is happening synchronously, so we're fine with that. Okay, so it can't be happening here. And that's what we're calling, right? Wow. Let's turn on case sensitivity here. Okay, I don't care about Supabase for this. Auth repository, implementation, data source, password reset. Yeah, like I hate these kind of errors. Oh, you know what? Let's just turn on our debugger. I'm gonna do uncaught exception. I'm gonna do all exceptions. Let's rebuild. I think this will help me figure out where this is happening. Turning on the debugger. Okay, here we go. So click through here. Oh, it is happening. My first instinct was right. So data is expected to be, what's the return? Yeah, future of this. Okay, let's just continue. Let's actually just do a rebuild. Oh shit, I lost where. Oh no, where was it? It was this. No, it was. Yeah. Deal.get data. Shit. I should have. I should have just. So the error is actually the fact that an empty response is coming back from my server. If we step into this, okay, so it's happening in switch method return response equals this. Okay, okay. So let's just, I'm really bad with the debugger. So I'm actually just gonna stop running this. So it's this right here, response data. Um, we can say, we can just do like if response.data is equal to null, we're just going to return basically an empty map. Otherwise we'll return this. Now I think we can also just do that. It's basically the same thing. So let's rebuild now. We're ready for a rebuild anyways. Well, that's going. Okay, forgot password. That's me. Let's see if we still get this error. Oh, we do still get this error, or at least some error. Wait, did we get an error? Okay, hang on. Let's turn this off now. Now that I think I've solved this issue. Pray for me. Okay, cool. I think it's doing what it's supposed to do. I just have a mistake somewhere in what's probably in the UI. It's probably because yeah, let's see. Our server should be sending back a code. There's our code. Okay, so now let's step through this again properly. Okay, so we're in the request password reset form. This here, we have a listener to the auth provider. Let's look at our auth provider. Okay, when we call our request password reset, we go and we request the password reset with the email. If there's a failure, we say, it's a failure, but otherwise we say the state is this. And we're supposed to be saying if the state is this, we're going to go context.go to complete password reset screen. Oh, I see. I think I forgot to use complete password reset form. I think I think there's actually just like an infinite thing going on here where it keeps pushing to that new screen. That's exactly what was happening. Oh my god, what a good catch! That could have been that could have taken a long time to solve, and I'm very thankful that I just noticed that. Okay, here we go. So now we're given a verification code and a new password. So I'm going to go to Docker because we're just printing this out. We're not actually emailing it to ourselves right now. So the reason I'm doing it like this instead of a link is like now I don't have to deal with deep linking because it's like I don't have to like send an email and then like be like, do they have the app? Do they not have the app? It's just like get the email and type in the code. Like it's so much easier. And I don't know why I've ever done it other ways. A new password. Let's make a new password, which should be a password form. Okay. We got that. We got that. And then it didn't seem to redirect to the right place. But I wonder if that worked. Let's just see if my password actually got reset, and then we'll figure out. It looks well. I got logged in, which is good. So I did make it a different password. I should probably make that a obscure field. Don't worry. The password I typed in, yes, it did. Our password reset's working. The one I typed in is not even secure. I don't care. It's one I just use for joke shit. So the question is, what happened? Let's step through this the same way. So complete password reset in the auth provider. We do the complete password reset, and then we do auth state success. So in theory, in our complete password reset form, we should be watching that. And if it is auth state success, we should be context.going there. Is it because it's a go and not a push? Should it be a push? What does our login form do? No, it does a go. So what was the problem here? Oh, I have an idea of what it could be. Um, so we're getting the user back. Are we actually in here? If we go to the Django, this is the auth repository. If we go to the, I feel like we need to actually, I don't know if we're actually saying the login token properly here. So that would need to happen in either the data source or that's the data source. Data source, auth repository. It's not those. Sorry, clean architecture. Love it and hate it. Here's the implementation. This is, I think, what I want. Complete password reset. User equals this. We get the user back. So let's look at this right here. So let's look at the auth data source Django. Complete password reset. Yeah, we do set. Okay, no, we do set the token. Let's just try this again. And let's also print in here, go to home screen. And let's also print in here the token dot. Does my do we have a toString on this? We do. Yes, that's great. I love adding toStrings to my models. Okay, so let's just refresh. And we are almost there, I think. It's just probably one stupid little thing. Da-da. Okay, then we're here. We got a code. Here's our code being printed out in our Django terminal. And I'm going to set my password back to another. I have two like stupid passwords. Okay, so we did. Okay, everything's triggering. It's just for some reason not actually going to this screen. But why? Why is it not going to this screen? The funny thing is, it's like, if I refresh now, I am logged in. Like, everything's good. Is it just like some... Because, like, this is the way the login one works. What's the difference? Auth provider. State success. State equals this. Let's just look at the login. Because I feel like it should be the same as login. State equals this. Oh, I probably forgot to call this. Ref.read current. Yeah, that's probably our problem. See, when things work somewhere else, just look at the other thing that worked. Okay, logging out, coming back to the app fresh. Let's also go to let's get rid of these two console logs because I'm trying to keep this clean. And let's go to the UI for the form. Complete, and we're going to obscure. How do you even do that? Is obscure text? True. Awesome. Also, we don't want autofocus true on the second element. That's stupid. That was just copy paste issue. Okay, here we go. Verification code. Check it. Check it out, guys. We have a verification code here, and I'll reset it again. And there, I'm brought to it. Amazing. All right, that is great. This is a good time to commit. We're gonna go back here. Lots of changes. So we have reset password working as well as other. What else do we do? Auth. It's hard to tell because it all has to do with auth. Let's just do like auth improvements, password reset working. And we'll push that. All right. Go to our to-do list. Yeah. And I don't even get to check anything off. This makes me mad. I'm I'm putting it in medium tasks. I like to I like to check things off. Password, reset. And also we did register. That wasn't even done for Django. I'm going to also make a future tasks for basically non-Django because I'm really focusing on the Django stuff right now. The other stuff, Django actually, I was playing catch up for a long time. I had it working on other things. Now Django's actually slightly ahead because we have to still do the password reset, Serverpod implementation, which we're not doing now, and password reset for Supabase. I think that's the only thing we're ahead on now. Cool. Oh, look, additional auth, password reset, etc. Let's just check that off. Um, yeah, I don't want to do profile stuff. Okay, this is good. Um, and I'm just gonna commit my to-do list because I use multiple computers and I don't want to do list updated. If I, get back to this project on a different computer, I want to make sure I have that stuff. Let us. So yeah, I think we're in a pretty good spot. I might work on something else for a little bit. Oh no, I didn't save that file. God damn it! What did I change? That's fine. How do I quit this again? There, quit. Um, yeah, I'm gonna close this down. We got a lot done here. I'm gonna work on. I'm actually working on. I'm in the early stages of developing a course right now for Flutter, and it's going to be a complete beginner's course. Like literally like targeted to people that have never done Flutter before, and also a bit even targeted potentially to people who haven't coded before. Because actually, there's probably a lot of overlap there. I've noticed like a lot of people are learning Flutter as their first like programming thing, which is great. Sure. It's probably, there's probably other things that I might recommend you learn before getting right into Flutter, but a lot of people are doing it. So I am working on a course, and I have it all planned out. I'm super excited to do it, but I need to build the example apps for it first. The ones we'll be building in the course. So so that I want to have them done ahead of time for two reasons. One, or a few reasons. Like one, I need to be able to plan like what I'm going to be doing and have like a reference so that when I'm building it, I'm not just like going all over the place like I do on the live streams. Two, also to in the very first video, I want to be like, here's what we're building, da da da, and then like three, also just like know what challenges each thing is going to have and what principles and techniques we're going to be doing. So I'm going to work a bit on this one example app for a little bit, at least like probably another half hour, if you want to stick around. We are going to do that. So this is the first the first app that's going to be built in this course after like quite a bit of just like more lectury and example sort of stuff. Is a flashcard app. So it's basically going to be like something where you have a bunch of flashcards and you can it's for like that you would make for studying, right? um, and so I've just kind of been putting this is really simple. It's supposed to be simple. It's the first it's the first thing in this course. um, so yeah, we have the choose category. I was thinking about I'm considering having an animated element here, which actually, where did I leave off? I was consulting with ChatGPT the best way to do this, um, and trying to decide if it's too much overkill. I don't think it is. So let's see. Flashcard page. Yeah. So what we'll do is take this, not this page. The card itself will be this right here. Actually, this right here. We're going to extract this widget, and we're going to call it flashcard widget. And we're going to move this to a new folder called widgets and a new file called flashcard widget.dart. And we will need to pass in the current flashcard. We'll just call this flashcard. Great. And then we need to import this. Okay. So now, oh, I still have two things running. Get out of here. Okay, this is still working. So now our flashcard widget itself, we are actually going to convert to a stateful widget. And we are going to store a couple things here. Now we're not going to use underscores. And we want this to have the width, what is it, state ticker? No, it's like single ticker, which we want for our animation stuff. Okay, initting state. We want to set our controller to be doing that, vsync this, and our animation will be this controller. And we want to end at pi, which is going to probably be confusing for people, but we'll explain it. And then we're going to have void flip card, and I'm just going to see if I can just, yes. Don't know when to set state of that. I guess it doesn't matter if it's not being used. Is it being used? I'm just going to still put this in a set state. Okay, then we want to, we're just going to use the button. The button will trigger it. So just animation. We want an animation builder wrapped around, I guess, the card. It's this whole thing. I guess the whole thing. Wrap with a builder and animation builder. Animated builder. And an animated builder has a child, but also needs the animation, which will be our animation. Yeah. I see why they're using the underscores. I wonder if I should teach people that. Like, personally, I don't think it's really necessary. Because, like, you can't access these things anyways. Rename symbol, animation. Okay, so then we do this. Pi is imported, cool. Is front. So wait, where's our builder? Animation is front, and then we return a transform. So basically this whole size box is going to be wrapped in a, actually we're gonna make this a container instead. And it's gonna be wrapped in a transform. And its alignment, center, and we transform along the animation value. And then we still have the card itself. We want to rotate. We want to basically rotate this whole thing. So we're going to extract build front, build back. I guess it's just the contents of it. So probably just this. Extract widget. We're going to do this a little bit differently. We'll call this flash card. Let's call it front. And we will also make another one called back. Okay, so then basically here we would go is front. Oh, I see how this is working. So basically, as soon as it hits, like, if the card's doing like this, it's rendering one side. But as soon as it hits that, it switches, but you don't see it at the switch point. Okay, cool. Back. And widget. Why is it called widget? I don't want to pass the whole widget through. And we'll literally just take all of this here, except rename this to back. And we'll just make it say flip back. And the back would have the answer. It's basically what we would be doing. And this should be widget.flashcard. And does this need decoration? Probably. Do they have any decoration on that? Transform container. Oh, actually, no, but we could. Let's see if it works. Oh, we have to actually make the button do something. I guess, you know what, we could get rid of this. Remove this widget. Remove this widget. Let's just put a whole thing on the, I want a gesture detector basically on the container. Yeah. On tap, we want to flip the card. Oh yeah, look at that. It's actually pretty smooth. That's awesome. So the back, we actually have to, do they even do that here? Yeah, it does. Okay. So back itself needs to actually have a transform on it where we actually rotate the contents of it so that it doesn't do that. Oh, look at that. Okay, cool. Capital cities. Why does it say capital cities? Oh, right. I'm not. So I'm randomizing, I think in the game screen, I'm shuffling them, but I actually want to only get where FC dot category is equal to category. Oops. Oh, widget dot category dot to list. And I have to rebuild. Oh, just fucking typical. We just I just clicked the stop button. But we're back. Okay. So now if I click on capital cities, yeah, USA, DC. If we click on framework languages, awesome. Let's just hit shuffle. Yeah. It's weird that, why am I always getting the same one? Is my shuffle not working? Yeah, I'm always getting USA. Oh, there it is. Look, Canada came in. Okay, I only have two for each, but I just wanted to make sure I didn't make an issue. No problem. Um, cool. Flashcard widget. Let's just make this a little bit better. Let's see if we actually gave this a color. White or colors dot red. Yeah, it's actually, it doesn't really look good. Meaning this can just be a size box. Okay, the only thing that's probably needed is some styling of this. We can do like, Q. Let's use like display medium maybe. I always forget what is what here. Headline small. Yeah, that looks kind of good. And we can do spacing here of like 8. Yay. And then we'll do the same thing here. Just change this to say answer and this to say answer. Question. Answer DC. Cool. So this is currently just built with or it's all like, where is it? I have a data, yeah, flashcards here. So they're like pre-populated, which is going to be the first step in this. I think the next step is actually going to be allowing you to create new flashcards. So let's start figuring that out. That will be on the game screen, and we're just going to have an app bar. Yeah, app bar actions. We can just have, we could do it, yeah, we could have it as an action button, icon button. On press will do something, and the icon, let's use icons dot add. And we need to get rid of that stupid debug bar. Why does that even exist? Debug false. Don't show that banner. There we go. Plus, we could do it with that. It could be a floating action button. I might show both when we do it, but it doesn't really matter. How do we want to do this? I guess we want to have I feel like dealing with forms in tutorial 1 is probably going to be a little bit much. Instead, we could do it with some dialogues. Show dialogue, and we'll have an alert dialogue. Alert dialogue, what is it? Title will be text. Oh wait, that's not how we do this. Builder, we're just gonna have context. Return, alert dialogue. Cool. And title text of question. Then content will be a text form field. I know we still need to have a friggin' form field to do this. This is already yeah, we can, I'm trying to build this in like a way I would never actually build this, but is good for explaining stuff to beginners. Because using set state for everything is just like awful, but this will be fine. Text field, so decoration, maybe we just have like yeah, we don't even have to worry about decoration, I don't think. We're just gonna have a text field. But it's gonna have an on change. unchanged value. Just make sure this does what I think it does. Okay, so we should get an alert. Question, yeah. Okay, we can also autofocus it. True. And let's give our let's wrap the content in a constraint box that has a min constraint, box constraints, min width of 300, let's say. There we go. Question. So let's make sure that typing stuff. Yeah, we get the stuff. So what we would now have is a string new question equals just an empty string. I wonder if I should do this actually outside of this screen. Kind of think so. Main screen, choose category. Nah, we can do it here. So we would just do set state new question equals value, which this is always going to be a string. Yeah. Okay. And then for the actions, we can have a text button on pressed, child text of next. Pop true. And we'll have a text button that says cancel. And it will do false. So we'll wait that. Final should continue equals that. And then we duplicate this again. Right here. No, where do we do this? Show dialog. I think I just missed copying some stuff. Let's try this again. We'll just call that should save. And if we should just do this with a form. Yeah. Screw this. This is not what we want to do. Okay. Let's get rid of the action there. We're actually going to do this on the main screen. We're going to have an app bar. It's going to have actions of an icon button on pressed, icons dot add. Just heads up, anyone hanging out. Love having you here. I'm going to be done here in 20 minutes. Because I should go to bed by midnight in my time zone. So if you have any questions about code, about anything, now would be the time because we can talk. I have good advice. Okay, then we're going to make this a function that is maybe a future void of add new, or let's call it like create new card. Cool. It's going to take a build context. It'll be asynchronous, potentially. And with this, we will just call add new card or create new card. create new card, pass in the context. Sweet. Here, we're going to show modal bottom sheet. And its builder is going to get context. And we're actually going to have a new widget for this called new card form, or new, create card form widget dot dart. Maybe we'll just call this create. Yeah, create new card's fine. So here we actually want to return our new thing that we're making, stateless widget. Stateless widget, create card form widget. Sure. Okay, get out of here. Yay, look at that. Okay, so this will be a column. Main exercise, main exercise.min, children, whatever. We are going to make this a stateful widget. When we inits, we're going to have some late final text editing controller called question controller. I don't think it has to be fate. I think I can just do this. I haven't done forms this way in a long time. And then we do need some state to represent the category, which actually will be null by default. We'll call it selected category. Yeah, this will be good. This is gonna work. Okay, so in here, first of all, we want to have some text maybe that says category. We also want to have the cross-axis alignment dot start. And let's add some spacing. This is one of my this is like one of my favorite things in Flutter now. The new things is like putting spacing in a column or a row instead of having to put size boxes or padding everywhere. It's like super nice. Okay, let's just make sure that that's working. And because this is, okay, we probably want to make this. There we go. And then we want to add some padding here. Let's just add the default padding, maybe double the default padding. Cool. We can also actually even start with, whatever. Okay, so we'll have category, and then we're actually going to have a wrap. And the wrap will be children. We're going to take all the categories, category.values.map. Oh, why is there a const here? Categories.values.map. There we go. .to list. Actually, I don't think I have to even, yeah, I do. I think I have to convert to a list. Okay. We'll just call this category. And it's going to have a button. Maybe this is a good time to have a builder just to show how we can do this. And we're going to just return an outline button on pressed, child, text, child. Oh, or this will be category.label. Let's just see if that's working. Cool. Wrap also can have spacing. Wraps always had spacing. Run spacing of 8 as well. Okay, cool. So we'd have all those things there. However, our builder is going to say, if selected category is equal to category, we're actually going to return an elevated button. Then the on press is going to do a set state of selected category. Maybe we are going to use underscores actually for all this stuff. I'm going to do a little bit of research on if that's even still necessary, but selected category equals category. Or I guess this isn't really. Maybe we'll just make it null for that one, and for this one, we'll set it to this. So you kind of like toggle them off too. Oh, that doesn't look great because they're both like color. How do you do color again? Outline button. I don't use this stuff anymore. Um, it's like you gotta do all the widget states and stuff. What else could we use here? We could just have like a container that's like colored in. Maybe that's maybe that's a better way to do this, and then we don't actually need the builder anymore. So let's get rid of all of that. Diagram map, and here we would have a container. It's gonna have some decoration, box decoration, border radius. Let's say like and this should be, I think, border radius that's circular. Let's make it like 16. And then we can do its color is going to be, this is where we'll do is selected. So category is equal to selected category, colors dot green, white. Either way, we'll have a border, border side, border dot all, colors dot black, width 1. Then it's going to have a child of the text of the category label. And this will need a bit of padding too. And maybe we'll use symmetric padding here. So we can have vertical of like 6 and horizontal 12. And then we kind of get a button. And then we need our onClick event. So this would now need to be wrapped. We could do it in an inkwell. We'd say if selected category is, actually, let's do it this way. Category is equal to selected category. We would do null. Otherwise, we essentially go set state. Selected category is equal to category. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Looks beautiful. Looks so nice. Okay, so that handles our category. Awesome. Then after the wrap, we'd have another text called question. Actually, this could just be text form field. Controller is going to be the question controller. Decoration. Let's just do input decoration. We'll just do a hint text, I think. Yeah. Oh, is hint a widget? I didn't know that. Okay, and this would be answer controller. Answer. Then at the very bottom, we would have a elevated button. Text says create. Now, this whole thing should be wrapped in a form. And that means we need a final form, or form key, is that what we want? What is it? Form, state, or global key? What is it? I forgot to do this. I think it's global key. Global key, form, state, form equals basically the same thing. Or maybe we'll call this form key. And now we just do key, form key. Okay. And we can do a lovely wrap with widget. Actually, this can be wrapped in a row. Oh yeah, this will look so good. Where's my row? And we'll have a text button. Button, unpressed, navigate. I'm glad I'm doing it this way. This is better. I can see a lot of things we can teach. Navigator of context pop. Child text cancel. And yeah. And then we just need to make sure our main axis alignment is space between so that they get pushed away. Yay! Cancel. So cancel should close that. Also, clicking here will close it. Create will also close it, but it's got to do something else first. Okay, this is our form widget. Let's make our form widget have a final function of a flashcard or final function flashcard model new card handle new card handle card created, and we will require this. And then basically down here we actually need to make the question. So well, first we should go if form key dot current state dot validate. If not that, we want to return. We also want to say if, maybe we should do this one first. If selected category equals null, return. You know what? Let's not worry about that one. Let's actually just set the selected category to equal selected category equals equals categories category dot for, or we can just pick one, capital cities. Is that our first one? Yeah. That way it's never null. Then we don't have to deal with that edge case and do a toast or anything. So we validate, which means we should probably have some validators. Let's add a validator here. Value. If value equals null or value dot is empty, return question is required. Otherwise, we'll return null. And basically the same thing for this too. Validator, but we want to say answer. Yay, now we've taught a little bit of a validation. Very exciting. So then we do that. Then we'll say final new card equals flashcard model. And we're just going to pass in selected category. We're going to make the question. Actually, we should also dot trim is dot trim. So that you can't just put a blank space either. It's probably a good practice. Question is going to be question controller dot text. Answer controller dot text. And now we are going to do, actually, wait. We can teach something cool here. Because we can actually dot pop null. And we can actually pop the new card. And then over here, we can say final new card. and this is basically going to be a flash card model, but it could be null, equals awaiting this. And we can say if new card equals null, return, because we don't want to do anything. Otherwise, to do save somewhere. Right. So let's see if this works. New card. I'll try and click this. We get this. Hello world. Click create. Boom. I should have printed. I probably should have print new card just to make sure it's working. New card. Great. There. And it's a flashcard model, which of course our flashcard model should probably have a toString on it. And we will just return. What do I want to use? I guess we just use question. I guess we could have like category.label, something like that. Okay, one more try. I'll change it to framework languages. There we go. Yeah, yeah. Now in terms of saving stuff, okay, so far this has taught, I'm gonna actually make some notes here. Notes. I don't need those. I just want to talk about the things that this is covering. Topics covered. Basic setup of Flutter app. We have enums, custom model. And oh, I'm running out of time. I told myself I have to go to bed in 3 minutes. We are going to have a little bit of animation stuff, and we have bottom sheet being covered, form plus validation, and then I think the one other thing is actually like potentially persistently storing this somewhere. Maybe at least, the very least, storing it in memory. But I feel like if someone actually wanted to use this, they'd want to like, actually have it stored. So I think that would be the next thing, is actually storing it. Now, I don't think I would necessarily use, I don't know. I maybe would even use Sembast for this. Like I do think Sembast is pretty great. Because what are the options? You have like Hive CE, Flutter. Let me just, this is still being maintained. Yeah, 29 days ago. So cross-platform, I forget, is this box.put? So we have a box, we put name David, box.get name. It's Hive, oh, you don't have to wait for futures? That's kind of nice. Look at their example. So they register it, person. Now, how does Hive work with lists and stuff like that? Where's their documentation? Do they even have docs? Oh, no. No, come on, guys. Come on, guys. Can't teach somebody that doesn't have a website. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Okay. The drift dart package is popular. 9 days ago. Example. Extends table. So this is a little more flushed out where you actually have like the type safety and stuff. Um, Data class name. But then like getting into data classes and stuff, is that really a good idea in a beginner tutorial? Um, so let's see. Expression string. Yeah, like I don't think we need like a full SQL thing. Let's just look at the local storage package. Local storage set item. Yes, I can. Just one sec. I will be RB. I will be RB. Hey, Soap. Thanks for joining. I'm actually just working on uh, a little flashcard app. So basically, um, for like studying kind of stuff. So like you have like quite this one's like capital cities. So it's like USA, what's the capital city? Washington D.C., whatever. Framework, Django, the language is Python. Just a simple little thing like this. And I've just got the being able to add one. However, I'm now fiddling with what um, what I should use for saving this local storage. Because, if you read right now, if I restart the app, actually, in general, this doesn't go anywhere. I figure we should save it to local storage. And I'm trying to make this beginner friendly because it's actually just like an example project I'm making for a course I'm making for beginner developers. Um, so it's a sneak preview of that. Uh, and I'm fighting a lot because it's like, what would I use is a different answer than what I think I should use for teaching beginners. So I'm fighting over what to use. This is a good thing to actually ask ChatGPT for beginner Flutter developers. What would be a good way / package to teach how to store data persistently? Um, Specifically, uh, a list of specifically a list of let's just say JSON objects. Sweet. Welcome to the world of Flutter. It's great. Yes. Yeah, it will be, all my code will be obviously available for people to take the course. My plan with it is I am going to put it on YouTube and it'll be like free and all that stuff. But I'm probably going to keep basically like I'm gonna have two ways people can do the course, like because I am gonna be charging for this in some way. One will just be being if you're like a YouTube member of mine, which I'm not sure what the price will be, maybe like $5 a month, let's say. You'll have access to it as well as to the Discord. Or if you just want to one-off buy it, it'll probably be on like Udemy. But if you just want to watch it and not actually have the source code, like that'll just be totally free. That's kind of my thought process right now, but I need to like figure it all out. Um, but I do have lots of good. I do have some stuff that's kind of beginner friendly. I wouldn't say I'd say a lot of my stuff is a little more like intermediate to advanced, the stuff I'm covering. That's kind of been my niche for a while, but I'm trying to like open up my niche to people like you, I guess. But definitely check out some of my other videos because especially some older ones, I think they're pretty entry level. Okay, yeah, they're saying use shared preferences. That's kind of what I was thinking. I think, okay, then they're saying Hive, but Hive is like deprecate or not used. Oh, Izar, that's the one I was thinking of, but it's more advanced. Um, yeah, I think I think we're just going to use shared preferences. So let's do that. Flutter. Why is my terminal messed up? New terminal. Flutter pub add. But definitely subscribe if you're not already subscribed to me because then you'll find out when this course is coming out. I think it's gonna be coming out soon because I'm actually like I'm going to be releasing it as I'm building it. More like I'm trying to make it more like casual than like a course, like a Udemy course, and like a little more YouTubey and fun, with thumbnails and excitement. Um, so it's going to kind of stagger out. It's not going to be like everything up at once. Then when it's all done is when I would, put it up on Udemy. Okay, so we've added that, and let's just let's see. Okay, so save data, load data. Yeah, let's just grab this. So we're gonna make a function. Let's actually just make a new file called utils.dart, and we're gonna import shared preferences. Get instance, cool. JSON encode data, my data. That works. Which will be a list of map string dynamic. Perfect. And then load data. Cool. Then on my main screen, actually, is that where I get? Um, where do I actually grab these? I guess it's on the category screen, the game screen. Um, so in my init state, we're actually gonna go final. My flashcards equals. We'll just do load data. My flashcards data equals. Oh, can I do this asynchronously? I forget. Oh, can I? Wait, loading the data. So this is going to come back a future of that stuff. Cool. Then we should have a list dynamic. Um, and then final, my flash cards equals. We're going to map over those. And we'll just do item. And we will kind of. Where's my flashcard model? Flashcard model. We can also have a to JSON. Which would just basically return. I'm doing this. I'm doing this in such a way I would never actually really do it. We're gonna do question, answer, answer, and actually we'll do category dot. We'll just use. We'll just store the label. That's fine. From JSON is going to, and this will be W2 JSON. This would be a factory. Or we can just do it as a what? Static. Flash model. Static. Wait. Static to JSON. Returns a flash. That's what we want. Return a flashcard model where we have category. I'm just gonna come back to that one. Question. This needs to be. we'll just call it data. Let's also actually in my categories just put I'm just gonna have like a miscellaneous column that we can fall back to. And then yeah, for this we want to use categories dot values dot I can't do first where. I guess we could do final C equals category dot values dot index of or index where data category. This is wrong. Item category dot label. And we can just say this is a category. What? What's the other? There's two errors here. All right, this is actually just sorry. This is an int category index. Question in the chat. Question in the chat. Oh, you subscribed. Looking forward. Yes, there's tons. I have so much Flutter content here. So, if you're waiting for more, you know, stand by. More will come. How much experience do I have with Flutter? I've been using Flutter for probably like the past 4 years, maybe. Pretty close to as my. I'd say it's like in terms of like when I'm coding and stuff. I'm probably in Flutter like 60% of the time. I'd say of actual time coding over the last many years. Prior to Flutter, I've done kind of it all. Get working up to Flutter. Like I did React Native for about. I've done native stuff. I've done Ionic. I've done all the things kind of came before. But Flutter is the best for it's what it's trying to solve. But like I'm a full stack developer and I've been coding for like 20 years. So I build a lot of web applications, a lot of web software. You can check out my website, tylersavory.com, if you're interested. I should probably put a link to that somewhere. I just actually released my new website last week. I think a week ago today, maybe 6 days ago. So you can check it out, tylersavory.com, and you can see these are like some of the things I'm working on right now, as well as there's a whole bunch of other random ones here and stuff, and whatever. You can check it out. Okay, cool. So category index. This could be basically what we do is, actually I can do this as a one-liner. So we would say category index is greater or equal to 0. We would use category.values at that index. Otherwise, we're going to just use category.miscellaneous so that this doesn't ever crash. So like if a category got deleted but it was stored and I can't find it, we're good. Okay, so then we have the to.json and from JSON. This we don't have. To.json should return this right here. Yay. And then now we can actually do item dot, wait, we're loading. So we want to do flashcard model dot from JSON, and we'll pass in the item there. Cool. But this needs to become a list. So now we should have a list of flashcards. And as our load data, yeah, returns an empty list. So then basically, flashcards is going to be equal to the combination of my flashcards with the initial flashcards that come with the box, then we shuffle them. Awesome. Be cool actually if we had a shuffle button on here. Let's actually do that. Let's add a shuffle button. Actions. Um, let's just have a text button. Text of, let's say, shuffle. And, oh man, hate it. And then we'll do a set state. We'll basically just shuffle our flashcards, which that should work. Okay, now we need to actually deal with saving it, but let's just make sure that we didn't break anything. Miscellaneous. Oh no. See that? Oh, you can't have it. I didn't think you could. So basically what I need to do is actually make a void, and we'll just call it get cards, something like that, which this will be asynchronous. And we'll mark this with a feature. And then we want to make sure that we get cards here. And there we go. Yeah, 0. Cards. Okay, we should do something. If flashcards dot is empty, we should return let's just return a scaffold. Actually, let's do this. Oh no, this is fine. Yeah. Scaffold. Let's have an app bar. We can basically have the same stuff, but its body will be something that says text, no cards, no flashcards, no flash cards in this category. And we'll align it. Yay. Oh. Oh. Okay, what happened here? Okay, I think the to JSON or from JSON is not. Oh no, but that is something to do with my flashcards getting this messed up. Let's see. No flashcards. If flashcards is empty. Oh, because now I actually have to set state, which I can just call at the end of this. Aw. Aw. What? Flashcards equal that. We're doing get cards. Is there like an error happening that I'm not aware of? Oh. Yeah, that's the problem. We need to rebuild because we added a native plugin. I told myself I'm going to bed at midnight. I'm going to bed at midnight, but I have not gone to bed yet. I just kind of want to see this through. Maybe not every aspect of it, but I want to make sure I have the main pieces. I think it's just like this, storing, like loading the data, storing the data, and then having like a next previous button. Okay, cool. So this should say no cards. Yeah. This is working. We got a little flip. Boom. Shuffle. Will shuffle actually work? It does. Ideally, it would also, when you shuffle, it would flip the card back over, but I don't care about that. Okay. We actually now have to save this to the database. So when we save, we should be able to use that util that we made. Okay, save data. So this is annoying because we don't have access to all the cards here. Oh, we could just get access, I guess. Final current cards equal. Uh, let's just do load data. Oh, but this doesn't actually give us. Yeah, maybe we actually take our what we did in the game screen. Actually, this isn't too bad. Yeah, my flashcards equal this, da, da, da. And then we would do final my updated flashcards. This is so ugly. Equals my flashcards and new card like that. And then we go save data. Save data. Do I have to wait this? Might as well. So saving data, we need to basically turn this into to JSON dot to list. That should do it. Cool. And then we should be good. Now, when we get to that screen, it loads it again. So I think we're off to the races here. Do I love this? No, but I'm building this to make it work. Okay, framework languages. Sure. Let's do, so the question would be, let's do like Laravel. Answer would be PHP. So we create that, go to framework languages, shuffle, shuffle. Yay, look, it's in there. Look at that. Our new question is there. Now, if we totally rebuild the app, let's see if it's still there. It is. Our persistent storage is working. Yay. Um, cool. And then I probably in this won't deal with like deleting and stuff like that. I think we really just need like the ability to skip to the next one. So we should probably just do that real quick. And then at least I'm kind of done this first lesson, I'd say. Um, so this is here. We have the flashcard widget. Maybe this is a good use for a, let's use the floating action button. On pressed, I will do something, and its child will be a, let's actually use extended. I mean, our shuffle kind of does the same thing, but, wait, what is, let's just use floating action button. Child, um, let's just say next, something like that. Um, yeah, what's missing? What's extended supposed to be? What is this saying the error is? Labels required. Is label a string? Oh, no, it's okay. I see. I think it's label, and then icon. Yeah, icon, icons dot next arrow forward, and then I think we can do something to do with the icon being on the right. Should be like da, 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 floating action button. Yeah, there should be a way where the icon is extended icon, label spacing, extended text style. That's fine. We'll keep it on the left. Like what? Hang on, because I know there's a switch list tile or something that has this property that I'm thinking about. Um, Control infinity. Yeah, is there something like that? Affinity. No. Okay, whatever. So next, we basically have to know how many cards there are. This is the thing I always screw up. Um, if index is greater or equal to, um, where do our cards come from? Else index plus plus. Now this is probably wrong. So if index is, I think it needs to be equal to, greater or equal to this minus one. Um, yeah, and then I guess it would make sense that we put sort of like, maybe even in the next button, we could actually have, where would this go? It could be on the card. That's annoying. We could just wrap this in a little column. In, have some spacing of like 16. Then we can have a little text thing that's like basically index plus one of flashcards dot length. And we'll have a comma. And then this will just help me also debug this. One of three. Oh, next actually has to, okay, wait. If index is greater than flashcards dot length, oh, I didn't actually wrap this in a set state. Two of three, three of three, one of three. There we go. Yay. Okay, that spacing is a little too much. Hey, Piyush. Nice to see you here. How are you today? How you doing? How you doing? We're just making a flashcard app. I think it's done. Like this is all we need, right? Because this is like this isn't about typing in the right answer. This is like just a studying tool, right? I'd have this on my phone, maybe shaped like this, and have it on my phone, and I'd be like, yeah, okay, question, answer, boom, boom, boom. Oh, the problem is it stays on the answer side. Oh, fuck, we do have to fix that. Um, I'm gonna actually ask this. How can I flip it back from outside this widget from its parent? Okay, extract your flashcards on stateful widget. Yeah, I've done that. Um, okay, we can give it a global key inside the page itself. So in the game screen. Flashcard state. That's not, oh, it's probably called flashcard widget state. No, I don't want to do that. Let's open up our flashcard widget. Yeah, we need to actually rename this to not be private, basically, is what it's saying. Is this an anti-pattern? Probably. And then in our flashcard itself, we would do a key of card key. Then we want to make sure when we go next, we should just have maybe a function void flip to front. And we can go is front equals true. Oops, true. I guess it should be a set state. Um, okay, let's see if this will work. Okay, so basically we would go flip to front. So when we click next, in either case, we want to use our card key dot current widget dot flip to front. Current what? What is it? Current state. And we technically would want to do this in the shuffle too. Which, okay, let's see if that works. It's usually in some I do, but it is fine, I think. Okay, so if we're on the back here, we go next, it still stays on the back. Okay, I missed something, I guess. Or, oh, okay, I'm, I see, yeah, yeah. So we actually want to um, controller.reverse as well. Okay, let's just try this again. So it was updating the state of it, but not the actual visual state with the animation. So I'm on here, and I go next, comes back. Now, if there's a way I can, this is fine. Whatever. It gets the point across. Okay, so I'm on USA, I'm on answer, but I decided to shuffle them again. You know, they stay on their backs. Cool. That's fine. If we made this faster, it's not even that noticeable. Boom. Cool. All right, I'm gonna leave it there. Let's commit this stuff. Git status, git some flashcards, flashcard example complete. Yay. So yeah, I think that's good. It works for my purposes. All right. Anyone still here? Thanks for hanging out. I'm gonna go to bed now because I'm tired. Thank you, and see you again. Bye bye.